Since 1999, addiction has killed over 1 million people in the United States, and it is presumed to be more as a lot of deaths aren't reported. You may know someone who has struggled with addiction or may have struggled yourself. Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Lundgren, and I'm an addict. I'm here today to share my story with you and talk about addiction and how Narcan saved my life. Narcan is also known as naloxone. It is an opioid antagonist that blocks the receptors in the brain and helps replace them. I struggled with opioid and methamphetamine addiction for many years, primarily starting around 2012 when it became heavy. I have been in recovery for around 7 years, and if it were not for Narcan, I would not be here today. While addiction poses a significant public health challenge, it does not discriminate who becomes addicted. The widespread availability of Narcan has proven to be critical in not only saving lives, but giving people a second chance for those suffering from addiction. In this talk, I want to talk to you and share about how addiction has impacted my life and how Narcan saved it, placing me on the road to recovery and giving me the ability to help others, showing them that recovery is possible. Going in for an emergency C-section with my firstborn, I never would have thought that being prescribed painkillers afterwards would be the starting point of my addiction, eventually destroying my life and leave me fighting for years to break free. I dabbled in prescription drugs recreationally with my friends. At this point, I did not think I was an addict. I considered myself to be a coping addict that could get things done. I had a job, I took care of my kids, and I seemed to function appropriately. A couple years later, I gave birth to my second daughter and once again was prescribed painkillers. I struggled with postpartum depression and began using more frequently. As I still considered myself to be a functioning addict, things later started to get out of control. Pills became more expensive and became more complicated to get. A friend offered me a cheaper solution, heroin. Things turned downhill from there. If I couldn't get heroin, I'd use methamphetamines or use anything else I could get in that matter. My addiction spiraled out of control and I could no longer function as a mother. My parents took custody and I went in for treatment for the first time. I underwent an extended period of treatment and was doing really well. I got my place again and had my children back with me. I wish everything were perfect after that, but it wasn't. I started hanging out with old friends and I relapsed. I fell hard and I quickly lost everything again. My parents took my children and I went in and out of jail. I was homeless and I had hit rock bottom. I felt defeated and I started IV use, thinking I would never escape the depths of my addiction. I was using in a friend's bathroom and I overdosed. I woke up not knowing what had happened and feeling extremely sick. They told me they had to use Narcan as I had overdosed. I was crying, scared, not knowing what was going to happen to me next. By the grace of my higher power, a few days later, I was picked up on warrants that I had and was arrested. This was a blessing in disguise, and my life was spared again. I was incarcerated for a few months and sent to the Duluth Bethel while I awaited treatment placement at Pioneer. Something in me had changed. I was able to maintain my sobriety and eventually went back to school to become an addictions counselor. Going back to school impacted my life for the better. I found the support I never imagined from teachers and classmates, and my sobriety strengthened. I bought my first home and started a job at the Center for Alcohol and Drug Treatment as an addictions counselor. I got to share my story with others who are struggling with addiction and show them proof that recovery is possible. I hope this message gives anyone who has struggled with addiction or knows someone that's struggled with addiction hope. Addiction does not discriminate. It affects mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, and children. Being prescribed pain medications can drastically shape someone's life, especially if they have the disease of addiction. The road to recovery can be challenging, and one may never think that it will happen to them. I was lucky enough to be able to saved in many different forms, and I generally believe if it weren't for Narcan, I wouldn't be here. I would not be able to share my story with others and help others in the community. Seeking help and building a sober support is necessary if you're trying to escape addiction. As I speak to y'all today, I hope I show you strength for anyone that's struggling, or if you're struggling yourself. You are not alone. And talking about recovery will only strengthen those who struggle. Thank you for allowing me to share my story. Even if you don't need it, please carry Narcan. You may save someone's life. Feel free to email me afterwards if you'd like to request a Narcan free of charge, and I'll just show you a couple of the kits that I can give you. This is the IM Narcan. It's intramuscular injected in just the fatty spot of the muscle. Nasal Narcan is pretty common. A lot of people would prefer this. It's just a little shoot up the nose, and you could save somebody's life. Thank you.